Okay, today we picked up a random side shift and I'll probably be doing work here. I actually picked it up because I thought I really focus when I'm here because I'm using a different computer and it's not my computer and I'm not at home. So I was like, if I'm here, I will focus deeply on this project. I had such a stressful day today. I was actually the last few days I've been really stressed because my project is really, really close to done, but it's giving me stress even though it's a good thing. I don't know. Also, every single piece has been really, really hard work, and I've just been really in a state of like anxiety recently. So I was just like, you know what? Maybe it would help me to go to another place. But first, let me show you guys my meal for today. Before we start, well, first I'm gonna start with my shift and get everything set up. But let me show you guys my dinner today, which I'm very excited for. Nigerian food. Um, I got okra stew with like mixed meat, and then this is a disproportionate amount of what's this called again? Fufu to eat with this, but I was just really in the mood for Nigerian food. Okay, yes, that's all the updates. I'm gonna just set up my shift and get started, but probably not show much of the process unless there's something pertinent because the whole point of being here is that I'll be like locked in on my job. That's quite literally the biggest thing I've ever done. That's why I'm so nervous. I've never done a project this big and finished it. I was actually at this job when I first, like, literally so much of the initial stuff for this project was done here at my receptionist job. I actually, like, so much of the brainstorming that I did, I started here. I remember leaving my job. I took like a massive break, and I remember leaving it on the last day that I was about to go on a break. And I went to the grocery store nearby and I sat in their little like eating area and I looked up everything. I was like, can you make a, I was here when I looked up how to publish this. I was like, pre-print all this stuff. So I was like, oh, I should do it. I was actually here. And then right after I left and I put everything into ChatGPT, I asked it, like, I was like, can I do this? Can I make like a neural network of like a dissociative disorder, all this stuff? And it was saying like, yes, yes, yes. It was saying if I was able to do it, it would be like a really big deal, all these different things. And yeah, and then I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna do it. And I just worked on it. Okay. Look, oh my gosh, it's this computer screen is so much bigger than mine, and you can see all of the gajillion different documents that I've made in all this time. We're gonna go back into my neural network. If you hear punk music, that's because there's constantly punk music playing here. Here is the proposed neural network. I feel like I think clearer when I'm here. That's why I took a shift. I was like, I literally my brain works better on this computer. My computer, it's like my little laptop, and I do everything on it. So I think it's a little bit like overwhelming. This is getting confusing, so I'm just gonna start by reorganizing essentially. I have a few important questions that I really, really need to find. I'm just gonna read through this and I'm gonna highlight what needs to be found. Most of this neural network is already based on information in the Junk et al. Study. I'll explain the different elements of their neural network and point out places where I'll make adjustments. The study I'll be building off of is a model of consolidation and encoding where the model is running along a simulated track with place cells. The information is getting encoded, and then sharp wave ripples start oscillating, and the researchers are able to get a replay readout. The memories replay in temporal order, and you can see the location of the place cells. What my neural network needs to be is all of that plus pattern separation. Today, we're going to focus on just explaining things. Pattern separation, arousal, memory binding, and acetylcholine. What happens is that there will be an amygdala. When triggered, it will cause acetylcholine to go up. If acetylcholine goes up above 120, when triggered, how does it get triggered? We're going to start making comments. It will cause acetylcholine to go up. If acetylcholine goes up above 120%, it should begin to trigger theta waves. And the computational model will be in an encoding phase. If the stress stays up for a second but isn't traumatic, then the model should employ normal Hebbian plasticity rules already laid out by the Junk et al. Study. Citation goes up as usual. However, in my study, there will be an additional piece, which is memory binding. As acetylcholine goes up, I don't think I need to say in my study. As acetylcholine goes up, the source of what triggered the amygdala, which will be the stressor, should start to impact the binding. What does that mean? This is the other reason I'm getting stressed is that this is massive now. This is significantly beyond the scope of what I was even imagining for myself. This is so entirely like completely complex, and I don't think that I didn't think I was gonna be this and up here. I didn't think I was gonna do something this complex. So I'm getting overwhelmed by the complexity of this as well. Everything here with the EC is like really it's a question mark. I'm also just there's other things that are really overwhelming me about the complexity of this is just like for example all the citations I have to make. This is the most massive thing I've ever done and it's just been really shocking. Okay, so I'm gonna have a normal group. There will be just a medium stress group. This is gonna be my control group. This is the other thing is that there's not typically a control group for computational models that I've seen. It's usually just you do one thing. So that's why I've kind of been sort of like, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right way to go? I'll have to ask my advisor about that. I kind of really wanted to demonstrate the difference. If the stress is inescapable, something different will happen. The ACH will go up, but excitation will not go up. It will be dampened. This is my question I keep having. What does that really do? This is it's really been overwhelming how complex this is actually. The more arousing element is once again more likely to get encoded. After the stressor, the LTP will be impacted. What does this mean? I really, really want to find, if I could find, these are the things that I still need to get information on. And this is the question I keep having. So I assume the more arousing thing sends a stronger signal. Hi, how are you?
There's no possible way in this or any other multiverse that it's going to happen. I'm not being rude. It just can't happen. I mean, you can keep talking, but at the end of what you're talking, it's still not going to happen. You were trying to ask me to feel and see the inner workings of somebody else's mind. I don't know.
That's why I just wanted to.
Try.
Just
It's not going to change anything.
yes.
Right.
And it's not really, it's not, it's not new. You are still.
How can I help you? I'm having a very stressful and unhappy shift, but I feel like my personal hell is that I felt like, so I found a text. I was like, this text is perfect. This text is so perfect. It's got everything I need. All of a sudden, everyone keeps talking to me and doing all that. That's the story of my life. And it's literally my personal hell. It's actually been my personal hell the last few months because it's like, okay, oh my God, I'm so focused, like hyper focused. And then it's like talking. I've just started to hate phone calls. I hate it. I get into a flow and then all of a sudden it's like phone call. 1 hour later, phone call. Another hour later, FaceTime. It's like, leave. Just kidding. I love everybody who calls me, but I'm just like, it's not the people, it's the phone calls. Here we are. So I'm still finishing this text, but basically look at this. Look at this very pretty little thingy thing right here. Probably what I'm gonna have is a signal here, a signal here. It's gonna bind here, it's gonna go into here, and then it's gonna go into here. Because here's the thing that this is the last thing I have to go work for. Usually there's like nothing to do and I just work the whole time, but this time, what do we get? We got phone call. We got people talking to me. We got issues, big issues. It's only when I'm like really deeply immersed and like that's when people start. It doesn't matter. Anyways, so I think the thing is that I was kind of wondering like how do I. The problem is that place cells or like the study that I'm basically basing my stuff off of, they were able to basically make the place cells in a line because they just had like neurons. They had like neurons like this, and then the neurons were lighting up like the whole time. And then once they started to recollect, like they basically lit up again, like that. I was kind of wondering how am I gonna do that with these cortexes? But that's basically what they have to do to like bind like this. So I have to figure all that out. It's really too much to figure out, but we're gonna have to do it anyways because now I'm this deeply into this project that it's like, well, you have to see it through to the end. So But that makes sense now. That makes better sense that like there's gonna be something here. I don't know. I have a lot to learn still, so that's what's really annoying. I'm very quickly gonna show you some connections that I've been making recently. While we're here, it's been one of the worst, like top 10 worst work nights of my life. Like of any job I've ever worked. So the reason that ACH is connected to this, there seems to be different things at work with this whole what's the word? It's kind of fun because this is actually my method section right here that I'm writing. So it'll be nice once this is done. This is just going to go straight into my method section. The method section was the thing that I thought like I'll never be able to do that on myself by myself. But yet I'm doing it. I was like, I would look at method sections other people wrote and I'd be like, how that's the problem. Like, how am I gonna do that? Like there's just I don't think that I can get to that level of complexity at all. And yet I've been doing this by myself, which is really insane. I'm sorry, I just keep being shocked at what I've been able to accomplish by myself has been pretty insane. I just didn't expect myself to understand this much about science. Okay, where's the representation? So basically when the ACH is up, when the ACH is low, basically what can happen is the memories can start sort of like matching pre-existing things, pre-existing memories. And they can sort of that's that pattern completion thing. That's that. That's what this is. I'm so exhausted. It's actually currently 12:30 in the morning. So what I'm gonna need it to do is basically going back to this image, there needs to be data from the pararhinal cortex and the parahippocampal cortex. That's going to give it that memory binding effect. Where did the place cells happen? I'm sorry, and actually this where even are the place cells? Should we look that up? I know that they're in the hippocampus, but how do they even work again? How do place cells even happen? And then I have to go back to work. I'm actually in the middle of doing something really important and irritating. So I know the entorhinal cortex is doing something because that's where grid cells are. That's I know. It's pyramidal cells. It's too much to understand right now. I need to look at the other paper again. We're gonna read this later so I can understand. Because I want to have, let's go back to my other paper. I want to have what, where, and source. But I think that actually what I read is that the parahippocampal cortex also has to do with source. Where did it go? I highlighted it. Here, the parahippocampal cortex receives input from the neocortical areas that process information. Let's see if I can like actually copy this. Oh my god. This has been a really annoying night. You know when you're just annoyed, and this has been the story of my like life. When you're just annoyed and then more annoying things keep happening to add to the annoyance and you're just going insane. I need to get a big computer like this one day because this is so much nicer to have this. It just enhances my focus by so much. It's not just about the size, but it's also about it being an actual desktop computer as opposed to my laptop where I don't know, my laptop does not inspire focus that much. This is what needs to happen. I'm starting to feel like a real fancy scientist girl. I don't know. Like actually understanding all this and yeah, utilizing it has been so cool. I don't know. The parahippocampal cortex has the where information. Question. We're just gonna start inserting questions. Does the parahippocampal cortex have to do with place cells? I don't think I've even fully abstractly understood place cells that well yet. I'm not gonna lie. I understand them, but I haven't been that focused on them because they're not like the main thing I'm focused on. So I keep being like, wait, I think I don't fully understand them that well. I just know I need to have location. Oh my god, guys, don't let anybody come talk to me, please. Okay, no one's talking to me. I need to understand the entorhinal cortex a bit more. And then it's gonna be binding memories. Wait, this is looking actually insane. I think I might really be onto something. This is crazy. This is why I get so irritated because, oh my gosh, this is to me the most important thing in the world. And when I do this, I feel like I'm doing the most important thing in the world. and it feels so special and so important. The thing is that it's not a legitimate thing that I'm doing. Like it feels a little bit illegitimate because I'm not doing it yet through a program or anything. And it's like in reality, there's no like visible, there's no outward sign that you should be doing this. So it's like in reality, I should be doing my job. I should be doing like normal stuff. I should be going out with friends. I should be doing this. Whereas this feels like the most important thing in the world. So it's hard because I'm also a 24-year-old without a master's degree yet. So I can't, there's no reason for me to like, it's like I can't accurately convince anybody on earth that this would be worth giving just dropping everything for. But all I want to do is just drop everything and do this because it feels in my gut so important. And I really can't, like, I mean, people keep throwing work at me, school, everything. And it's like, nobody can understand how unimportant any of that is compared to what I'm doing right now to me. But I can't, I don't tell anyone about this project that much, like barely. Like even my family, nothing. I've barely mentioned this to anybody. My friends, I mentioned it vaguely months ago, never have mentioned it again. This is just like a me thing I'm doing. Okay. So it's like I can't convince other people to be like, are you joking that you're giving me this work when I'm doing the most important thing in the world right now? Or like even like I'm so exhausted where it's like I want to take I want to take like a week off, rest my head, only focus on this, but it's like I can't. And that's the thing is like on the surface, going to my master's degree program, going to my real job is significantly more important in theory. But to me, this is the most important thing in the world. And I just want to focus on it where I'm getting like, I can't be like, everybody leave me alone, shut up, don't talk to me, don't interact with me, don't give me work, don't give me anything to do. I'm just going to do this because this is so important. I can't. So here I am getting like, it's like, just and keep the focus just continuously breaking it drives me half insane. It's like really, really irritating, but it's like I can't. Okay, it's like, yeah, this could flop, this could suck. And it's like you still have to get a master's degree, you still have to like have a job, you still need money, you can't drop everything and do it, but it's all I want to do. And it's so irritating when I get in this and I'm like, oh, but you should stop and you should do your work or this, or like I'm getting phone calls for my job or like stuff like that where it just drives me a little bit up the wall and just insane. And it's like especially because every single piece of this right now has been so important. Like every piece has been a really big piece. So every little bit counts. And I've been making some of the biggest connections of my entire project. And I feel like recently my ability to navigate this stuff has elevated so much where it's like I just want to do this. And I just like, you know what I mean? It's getting like now I'm looking at it. Before I was like, okay, this is like kind of mid. I don't know what's going on. But it elevated and it's looking like really, really solid. And I don't know, I just want to do this all day long, but I can't because I have like other life things where this is like a full-time job that I'm doing here. This is insane amounts of work and everything, but it just sucks because like I can't be like, please, like, it's like even when it comes to like family and friends, even though I love my family. I love my friends. I love talking to them. It's just like this is the first time I've ever done anything insane like this. And it's like I kind of go crazy because it's like I love you. I want to speak to you and everything. At the same time, every spare second that I'm speaking to somebody else, it's like that's another chunk of hour that I'm not getting to spend on this right now. And it gets me like it's like I don't want to just drop everybody, but I also really just want to do this and I want to finish it really bad. So yeah, I don't know. It just kind of sucks because it's like, yeah, if I could explain to people that like this is the most important thing in the world, then like they'd be like, oh my God, go do it, right? But it's like I can't explain to anybody because maybe it's not, but to me, this is the most important thing in the world, and I have to do this. So the reason it feels like the most important thing in the world is because I never thought that I was gonna. How am I doing this? And this is so much information, and I never in a million years would have imagined that I'd get here. So I'm like, this must be really important for me to have gotten here in 8 months, right? It must be really important. So that's why I've been kind of like kind of going insane. Like also because this is so mentally draining and it's taking such a big mental toll for me to work on this. It's like running a massive computer program in your head, where I'm constantly like everything is constantly having to go to like making these connections and like, okay, how does this fit together? There's just these really big questions in my head and it's really tiring because I mean, it's just exhausting. This is like really hard work, actually. And even if I only work 3 hours, 4 hours, it's like 4 hours of really intense and deep work, you know? So it's really tiring. And it's like, I'm really exhausted and stuff, but I have to just keep doing like my normal life, which really sucks because like I can't, like, if people could know how important this is, then like it wouldn't make, like, it'd be like, oh, well, oh my God, just go do that and stuff. But it's like, I can't, like, there's no reason for anyone to think this is really that important until I'm actually doing it. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, that's cool. But it's like, it's not there yet. And that's how I felt this whole process, where it's like, I don't want to do anything else. I don't. I want to just do this. But like, I can't, there would be no reason to convince people that this is like that really, really that important, you know? So yeah, it's been kind of like annoying. And on that note, I have to go fix this because it's the last 20 minutes of my job and I have something important to do. But I'll probably continue this tomorrow anyways, because I'm getting kind of mentally exhausted, but it's coming together a lot. It's coming together really a lot. And I'm seeing it like happening. I don't have that much left to connect, actually. Like I think this was really good information about the parahip, these two was good information, and I think that shifted my project like a lot. Okay, that's it for this like literal work shift vlog. Okay, now I'm back home. This lighting feels so confronting now. It's funny how I look different in each and every camera. This ice cream. I'm a big mint chocolate chip person. I'm not one of those people that thinks it tastes like toothpaste, but anyways, I felt like I had one more good moment in me tonight in my project. I want to admire my own handiwork from today as well. Honestly, I feel like doing this has put me even in some kind of a bit of a dissociative state, not state, mood, because all throughout this whole thing, like, I was having a talk with myself on the way home and I felt so weird. I was like, who am I? What am I doing? What is this? Like, what even compelled me to do this in the first place? And I've just been kind of like, what's happening? It's been crazy. Like, not crazy, but I'm okay. This whole project, I mean, obviously, I've been surprising myself the whole way through, but the last 2 weeks, what I've gotten out of myself, I've been really shocked. I feel like the last 2 weeks have really been the most insane because I set out to write this proposal thinking, okay, I'm going to put together everything that I have so far and then just send it over to my supervisor. My supervisor can like guide me through the end. But I feel like in writing my proposal, I've been sort of like, oh, this is missing, and this is missing, and this is missing. And I have been getting it to that point myself. And that's been really crazy. I was actually a bit disappointed when I was going to send it into my supervisor, or like I thought like, okay, like, oh, now it's gonna be a school project, because one of the really cool things about this project to me has been feeling connected to my grandfather, because I started this project soon after he passed. And it really felt very spiritual when I started because, like I said, I said in the beginning, this is his story, that my grandfather was Black and Indigenous. He taught himself how to make maps. And he only went to school to the 8th grade and he taught himself how to make maps like on his own. Very smart person, like cartography, that's what it's called. He taught himself cartography, and he never got the chance to put his name on like any of the maps because he didn't have the education and etc. So he would make the map and he would give it to someone higher up from him, who would then basically sign off on it themselves. So he didn't get to put his own name on it. And when I started this project, I thought this was going to be a school project to begin with. I really wanted to study. It was not in my head this at all. It was just like, I want to find like a root cause for recovered memory or dissociative identity disorder or something, right? That was what I was really interested in. It was never in a million years could I have imagined that it was going to take on this form, look like this at all, even be a computational model. I was wanting this for like a while, like maybe like a year and a half or something. And I really wanted to do this. but I didn't know how. I was applying to programs, like I even applied to a PhD program just to see if I could do it, and like it didn't happen for me, but it was useful. It was literally so good that I did it because that's when I learned about sharp wave ripples, was in trying to prepare for that. And then I was like, oh, this is really like, I got that little wave of inspiration. But anyways, but soon in January, actually, it's crazy. I did all of this in 8 months. He passed in January, and I started that project like 2 months later. And it really felt very spiritual for me. Like, we never had a relationship at all. I was I was thinking when he passed, I was like, what is he gonna bring? Because I feel like like when people pass, their energy becomes part of you. And I really feel like I genuinely feel like I feel spirits like around me or guiding my life a lot. And I really felt like I was like, soon after was when I started to read about I actually got rejected from the PhD program soon after he died. And then I was reading that whole month. Started reading Surfing Uncertainty. I was doing this, I was doing that. I started my YouTube channel as well. All of these different things soon after he passed. And then I started this project like a few months after, and it felt so spiritual and magical. Like, oh, I got this chance to basically do this entire thing by myself without having to go through an institution, without having to get a grant, without anything. So when I got to the end of this project, I was actually feeling, or like recently, I was like, oh, I'm going to submit it for this proposal. I really felt a little bit kind of disappointed because I was like, oh, that's kind of sad because now it's really going to be like a university thing and I'm going to have like, you know what I mean? It's like, it didn't really feel like it was like, oh, okay, now it's going to take on this different form. But it I'm still doing it myself. Like, I'm still adding to it. And it's like I've just felt really, really like strongly pulled to keep adding and adding and adding, to the point where I've really been doing all the work that I thought I was gonna hand over to my supervisor. And it's still really been my thing. So it's kind of funny. I was really feeling today like my ancestors were around me. I know it sounds a bit silly, but I don't know. I was like, certain stuff I was feeling like I was like, I know it sounds a bit silly, but I'm very intuitive, okay? Very intuitive person. That's what I was reflecting on the way home. I was like, I just felt it in my gut. The minute it was crazy. Every single part of this entire journey, I felt so pulled. Like, I felt really like really strong gut feeling about like the path, you know? This is something so random that I never would have expected for myself. I just felt it. I was like, just go that way. I think my intuition is like my biggest gift. I'm very, very intuitive. And I trust myself like a lot. I really do trust myself. But anyways, I guess let me see if there's something else to add, but yeah, I was just like again, I was really sort of like, oh no, this is not going to be my thing anymore. This is going to be like a UCL thing or something. Like, it's going to be through my university and all this stuff. And I've really been finishing it by myself. It's kind of insane, but I'm just feeling really connected to him today. I feel like the Rasha name like it had to be put on something. Like, he was like, no, like my name will be on something, because after me, my kids aren't going to get that name probably. My sister and I probably my children would have to have the most convoluted name ever to have that in there, because I have like Rasha Turner. It's my middle name. So he was like, no, my name will be on something. Like, it will be on something. You know, before it's gone, like, it's gonna be on something. So at least it will be on this. I'm never changing I kept wanting to hyphenate my last name and it never happened, but it's okay. I put my middle name on everything anyways, because I think that both of those names are important to me. But I'm feeling kind of creeped out. I said in another video, I get creeped out really easily. I was watching, oh my gosh, should I show it? Last thing, and then we're gonna get into the project. It's actually so sad. I got so creeped out. Not sad. There's this thing that's really, really fake, which is the Serbian dancing lady, and she's not real. But when I would leave this job, I used to go all the way back home to like my old neighborhood that was in like around Islington. It's like an hour away. And I'd be out waiting for the bus at like 1 in the morning. And I would randomly, like, I think just to entertain myself, I would start kind of like dancing around, but then I'd creep myself out because I would remind myself of the Serbian dancing lady, because the Serbian dancing lady is like this, she's like this myth, this like tall tale about this lady who dances in the street, and if you look at her, she'll start running after you. I'm gonna show you this video. If you get creeped out too, don't watch it. I was watching this on the train the other day, and I got so scared. I literally, like, I gasped so loud, and I kind of like threw my phone. It was so embarrassing. The people in front of me started laughing at me because I was like, I'm sorry, I just got really creeped out by this video. And then I almost watched it today by accident, and I got so scared. I was like, no, no, no. I started like turning my phone off, and it wasn't turning off, and I had to just turn it around. I got really creeped out. Wait, I'm gonna show it to you, but I'm gonna be scared. This video, it's because I wasn't expecting the jump scare. Hold on. Oh my god, this is the part that got me. Oh my god. Oh my god. When the running started, that's when I threw my phone. I got so scared. This is the kind of stuff that happens in my dreams. I dream vividly. I have very vivid dreams, very complex dreams, very intricate dreams, so much. And I have bad dreams a lot too. But oh my gosh. Yeah, anyways, I've been having some real weird dreams recently. But this is what my dreams look like. I always have, oh my gosh, one of my big bad dream things. No, literally that's what my nightmares look just like that. I had a nightmare the other day. I didn't wake up from it, but it was just really creepy. But it was that somebody, since I was a kid, I was always terrified of people breaking into my house. And I had a dream the other night that somebody just came in, like they just walked in and were just like walking around. And I looked around, I was like, "Oh my God, somebody's in the house." Like it was creepier than that, but it was really weird. Anyways, okay. I feel like I can get one more thing out of myself tonight if I really try. Yesterday I also had a really awful, it was a good day, but it was also a horrible day at the same time because I was feeling really like that high arousal feeling actually as I was walking around, but it was for the best. It was very useful. So I started to observe it because I started to see, I was like, okay, everything narrows. What did I notice yesterday? I was thinking about how the two things converge. Like I was like, okay, everything is getting tagged because you're in a state of high arousal. That probably also contributes to the dissociation feeling because the picture is so small of your life. And then because like the high arousal stuff is getting like really tagged. I don't remember. It'll come back to me, or it's just gonna be in the background. This is one of the big things I have to find is this number again. But now we know as well that it's so much nicer to look at it on that big computer because it whole page is on the entire thing. Like you can see a full page. If I do it like this, it's kind of small. It's kind of nice too because I feel like my grandpa, it's like leading me down this path. It's funny because I did YouTube videos did um and I did this project at the same time. But in doing these YouTube videos, I didn't expect. See, I feel like sometimes I just get these like random urges, but I started making those videos about race and stuff, and I feel like in everything that I've done, his story has come through so strong in so much of what I've done, and it's really kind of random. But I feel like his spirit is written all over like everything. I really feel strongly that he guided me down here. My grandma guided me in other things, I feel. Like when I always, like I said I said before, I always felt sad because my grandma from Brazil, I always wanted to communicate with her more or be in touch with her more, and I never did because I didn't speak very good Portuguese growing up. I mean, I understood it fine, but I just lost my language skills when I moved to the US. I was felt kind of like ashamed and sad, and we didn't get to see her as often as we could because we didn't have the money that much. So we just would go every like 4 years or something. And so when after my grandma passed, well, I was taking Portuguese classes already, but I don't remember when I was at college, I had something that I was feeling. She died in like 2020, but it's been kind of nice because actually in moving, I feel like she protected me a lot when I moved here because when I moved to London, I was really nervous. I was really, really nervous, like horribly nervous about like, am I gonna make it and is this okay? And there was like a lot of different things going wrong when I moved here. I was like struggling to find a job, struggling to find a flat. And at one point my money ran really, really low and I was really, really nervous. But it's funny because I ended up at this hostel that I went to today to work. I really felt it strongly though. I was like, I need to trust. I need to trust. Like this is leading me to the right place. Basically, I had paid for one hostel and to stay in, and then that same day they said that they overbooked, and I would get the money back in like 7 to 10 days. And I was like, I was really scared because that was like almost the last of my money, and I was really, really nervous. I was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody, I'm not gonna ask anybody, I'm just gonna figure it out. I had the worst night of my life that night. I was so stressed. So I woke up the next day and then I didn't tell anybody, I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell the Uber, like the Airbnb lady. I told her I was going to another Airbnb. And I left and I took an Uber. I literally took an Uber like a few blocks to a coffee shop just to seem like I left. And I went and I sat in this coffee shop and I was like, okay, I started to work on my my research study. They were like, if you I could complete the study too to learn how to do it, but also you get 70 pounds from it. So I was like, I'll just do that and then I can use that. What's crazy is that I don't know, I was having a lot of intuition on my way out basically. But even though it said 7 to 10 business days, it ended up after I was finishing up at this coffee shop, I randomly got the money the very next day. And then in getting that money, I was able to get I went to get a hostel. The only hostel left really was like that one that I could afford. The one that I like even was at today. So I was the only one left. So I went there and ended up going there, and I didn't know at the time, but I'd never heard of volunteering. But I was praying so bad. I was like, please God, like please every spirit. I have a lot of different like quote unquote spirits that really guide me, like really important people in my life who have passed that I like will pray to. And basically I ended up going to this like hostel and I could afford it. It was fine, whatever. And I was hunting for a job while I was there. I was able to get one within like the week. Something really actually this is the thing. No, no, no. It's multiple things. So I was able to figure out two different potential job opportunities. What's interesting is that at that hostel, first of all, they ended up having a volunteer position like open. So that covered my housing costs. So I was like, okay, I'm housed now. But the cool thing is that also there's a lot of Brazilians there, a lot of Brazilians that work there. And actually, some of the Brazilians there who lived there and worked there had very, very, very similar names to like my family members. Like one of them literally was named the same name as my aunt. No, two of them were named after like one of them had the same name as my mom, but like my mom's childhood name. Like they had the same nickname. The other person there who was also Brazilian, they were both Brazilian, was the same name as my aunt. So it was two of my family members. And because I was there, I always really wanted to get like really fluent at Portuguese. I had to speak Portuguese like all the time. Like I was speaking Portuguese constantly. I was speaking Portuguese to those people. I was speaking Portuguese to like people at the hostel. I even spoke Portuguese to someone today. There's a lot of Brazilians there, which is really cool. The other crazy thing is that actually the other hostel that I had booked, they only let people stay there a week every year. The hostel that I went to was like one of the only hostels that you can just stay as long as you want, basically as long as you speak to the manager. So I was able to stay like extended period of time rather than I would have what would have happened if I'd gone to the other hostel is I would have maxed out my week and then I would have freaked out because I would have had nothing. I would have been like, okay, what I'm just hostel hopping. But because I went to this other place, honestly, I'm so grateful for this hostel. Like I got a place to stay. It was a bit hectic, but people were like, it was like a story, you know. I had, and also somebody else was there that ended up being like sort of an adjacent life path to me. So it was kind of fun and all this stuff. And that same week, too, that I figured the hostel out, I also ended up getting a nanny job. And I didn't have like it wasn't, I just got hired by the agency. That's it. But the people that ended up hiring me through that agency actually were Portuguese. And I ended up being a Portuguese speaking nanny for like 2 years or something. And this family is now very, very important to me. This is like the house that I'm living in right now, literally is their house. They let me sublet the house because we became so close. I visited them in Portugal and everything. So I feel like my grandma really looked out for me and like she knew that I wanted that really strong connection to her and that I always felt sad that I wasn't connected enough to Brazil and to Portuguese. And like there was always that language barrier between us. And now, like, at least in spirit, that barrier is gone as well. So I feel like that was how she really guided me and she kept me safe. She gave me family. In both different places, she gave me a family as well because at the hostel, I got this kind of weird family, but also my family members, like my name, there's like the names of family members. And then also, um, I got this other really nice family that speaks Portuguese here and is just really sweet and stuff. And then yeah, they really truly became like family to me. And also even the move to London is kind of funny because there's a lot of Brazilians here. There really wasn't Brazilians where I was growing up at all. Here I meet Brazilians every day, but my Portuguese has gotten like really fluent. Like I was speaking to this lady today, I was like, "Oh, my Portuguese has actually improved like significantly." When I speak to the family that is actually from Portugal, my Portuguese is really bad because they're speaking Portuguese from Portugal and I get all mixed up and all this stuff, but I feel like when I'm speaking to Brazilians, like I'm more fluent because they like were I'm almost mirroring their Portuguese back to them, you know, so it's like useful. But yeah, that was really I feel like that's how my grandma really kept me safe, gave me security and everything, but I feel like my grandpa gave me this story. So I just really feel like they've both been around and stuff. Even the other big spirit that guides my life is my godmother, who died when I was just a few years old. She died of lung cancer and she actually was a professor. Such an important spirit in my life. Like I feel like really powerfully she's been in my life as well because she basically when I was younger, I my mom was pregnant with me when she was at school and she was taking this professor's class who actually has the same last name as us. She was Christina Turner was her name. And basically I would go to her class and when my mom was pregnant with me, and then I was born and I would go to class with my mom when I was like a literal infant. And yeah, and then my she became my godmom and stuff and she went to visit us in like Peru and everything and she loved me a lot. Like she was really, really close. Apparently, I don't remember that much to me as a child, but um yeah, she died when I was like 6 or 7 or something. But she actually left me a massive, not massive, it was not really massive, but it was for me massive college fund of like 50,000, 60,000 or something dollars. I mean, over time, she set it up so even after she died, it would put money into the college fund every year. And because of that, I was able to afford going to a really really high level university with no debt. Like I literally it's crazy because the fund ran out almost I have like $20 in it. Like I used it paid for all of my years at school, housing, food, everything perfectly, like everything. And she actually it's funny because when the paper that led to this was actually my undergraduate thesis that was about possession trance disorder and like Afro-Brazilian religions and stuff like that. And I didn't know this. I didn't find out till later, but actually, my godmom, the class that my mom was even sitting in on, I think was actually about Afro-Brazilian religions and stuff. It was like about spirituality and things. And I just intuitively ended up writing that for my undergraduate thesis. And then that paper, that undergraduate thesis bled into this. And every time I'm having an issue, I see like peacocks. And peacocks apparently were her favorite animal, but it's like in really bizarre places. Like when I was trying to finish my undergraduate thesis after I had left school and I was like, I just really feel like my soul needs to finish this. Um, I was having a day that I was really stressed out, and I was asking her, I was like, well, I don't know how, like, am I gonna get in a master's degree program? How am I gonna afford it? How am I gonna finish this? All these different things. And I was walking home the very last day I was like finishing this paper, and all of a sudden I'm gonna show it to you. I was walking home, and this was just sitting on a like a random house, like they had just put it out for anybody to grab, and it was just this little peacock. And that felt really spiritual, like she was really, really there, and it's so pretty. And I put little coins in it. Yeah, just a pretty little box, but I really, really feel like spirits are like in my life. I feel like I have a very like porous mind, if that makes sense. That's why I feel like I pick up a lot of information quick. I don't know how to put it, but I always would say when I started getting mentally ill and I was really struggling, I would try to describe it to myself, and I was like, I feel like I have leaky brain syndrome. There's this thing that people say that it's like an internet thing. It's not like an actual disorder, but people when they have gut issues, they're like it's leaky gut syndrome, where basically your gut lining gets like messed up because of like acid or something. And I know it's like kind of gross, but and basically like your gut isn't like filtering that right. When I felt really mentally ill, I felt like I had what's the word? Leaky brain syndrome. That's how I used to describe it, where I felt like things were just pouring in and I couldn't really control it that well. I didn't have like a good filter on how my brain was like really like I felt like I was picking up too much information or information in like too deep or almost. And I also got really really spiritual, where I felt like exactly like I couldn't tell the difference between spiritual world and myself, if that makes sense. Like, it was a very strange time in my life. And yeah, but I had another I had actually had a moment when after I recovered memories and stuff, I obviously got really mentally ill. And I got on this weird medication that my psychiatrist put me on that I didn't know what it was. Really, it was a super like combo kind of medication. It was like this, she told me it was like an anxiety depression medication that I just needed something for insomnia. And it ended up being this really, really heavy dose, like for really intense, like super resistant depression or psychosis. It was like an antipsychotic. And at that time I didn't like there wasn't really I wasn't like psychotic, like I just really was having like insomnia, but she didn't tell me it was she wasn't even like I think you're psychotic or something. She just told me it was an anxiety depression medication, which is what it is. But anyways, and then I had gotten off of that, and I was kind of I don't know, I was just in a weird headspace. I was really struggling with like dissociation and stuff. And I was walking back with some friends. We had moved all our stuff in. I had to go all the way home. This was like 2021. I went home because I got really, really mentally ill. Like I was really feeling unwell. And then my mom was like, just come home. So I went home for a bit and I came back up to move my things into a storage unit. And I was walking back home, back to my dorm room, and I saw uh because I went to Columbia, there's like this big St. John's Cathedral thing, and we were walking past that, and one of my friends pointed at something. They're like, "Look at that." And I look over and I see a white peacock, and I'm like, "You mean the peacock, right?" And then all of my friends were like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Oh my God." And I thought I hallucinated it. I thought I had hallucinated the peacock. And this is the thing, is that when I first recovered memories, it was a very, very difficult path for me because again, it's just a very confusing experience. I had a lot of doubt towards myself and stuff, and I was like, what if I'm just really psychotic? Like what if these are not real things? Like I really really struggled with my recovered memories a lot, and just feeling I when I saw that peacock, I really thought I hallucinated it, and I thought I'd had some kind of psychotic experience. And I was really nervous. I was really badly paranoid for the next year, that I was on the verge of like psychosis. Like all the time I was worried because I thought that peacock was like a hallucination, right? And I went a really long time thinking like, "Oh, I'm in a really vulnerable headspace. Like this is really bad." And stuff, because I had hallucinated something, right? Which sounds so silly in hindsight, but it was kind of random because it was just a peacock in the middle of New York, and I was like, what? nobody else saw it but me, and like why would there be a peacock there, right? Anyways, so the years pass, whatever. I finish this trial situation, and basically it was like a week after this trial had ended, and it didn't really go that like it was like a little bit of something, but most of it was very, very like invalidating. Like it was like everything that could possibly be knocked down was just like really knocked down until like the bare minimum was done. And then it was very draining for me. Very no, actually, it wasn't even to that point yet. It was not to the point that I'd gotten the results. It was to the point where I'd finished everything. Like I'd finished like the all of like the interviews and things, but I hadn't actually gotten the results back yet. It was like November or something. So I went out and I have this older lady friend. She's so freaking cute. She's like this older lady from Paraguay that she was like my bestie the last year or so. Like I don't know why my life is so random, but anyways, I made friends with her and we would go out like every week. We'd go get like coffee and walk around and stuff. She had this really cute little sausagey wiener dog called Gaucho was his name, and we just walk around with Gaucho and we'd go and like get coffee and stuff. But anyways, so we were walking around and we were talking, and basically we start to pass the cathedral and we start like just commenting on the cathedral and stuff. And this man comes by in like this little rolly wheelchair thing, and he starts telling us all these random facts about the cathedral. Like I don't know, he just started randomly kind of telling us stuff. And he says, and he says there's two white peacock brothers at the church. It didn't hit me right away. I kind of walked down the block and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, sir, I literally turned around. I was like, wait, sir, did you say that there's white peacocks? Did you say there's peacocks at the church? He said, yeah, two white peacocks and their brothers. And I was shaken. I was like, I spent the last year or two thinking that I was on the verge of some deep psychosis, that I had hallucinated peacocks. It turns out all of this time that they weren't fake, that they were real, right? And I told my mom this and she laughed like crazy because we both thought I was going insane. Like when I told her this, because after I saw those peacocks, I literally slipped into such bad like derealization for a second where I was like, nothing is real. And I basically just barely made it back to my room and I called my mom and I was panicking. I was having the most horrible panic attack because I was freaking that was the worst mental health period of my life, and recovering memories was the worst. Like I said in another video, it was like the worst thing that ever happened to me. My sense of my own sanity and my trust of my mind, literally it altered that so much, and just my ability to understand myself. And I couldn't understand what was happening that well, and it was really, really shocking for me at the time and stuff, and it was just such a difficult process. But I was so panicked at that point about my mental health and everything, and I really panicked a lot. And I think because I told her, I was like, I saw this peacock, and we both thought I was crazy, right? But turns out there was peacocks there. But anyways, so then I called my mom and she just laughed and laughed and laughed. She thought it was so funny. She was like, that we thought I was crazy, right? And I wasn't. And then but she told me, she was like, it's kind of a funny full circle moment, because basically I saw this peacock in the midst of all of this like madness, right? Of like my mental health and recovering all these memories, and thinking that I was kind of a liar and being like, am I a liar? Am I not? Or no, this is what I think it was my mom who said this, but it's funny because I saw the second set of peacocks right after the trial ended, and I turns out they were real. They weren't fake, right? And it was kind of a metaphor at the time, because it was like, oh, you look at you who thought you were so crazy to see something so strange, something you never thought you would see in just like the middle of somewhere so random, which is just peacocks in the middle of New York. And even though it's crazy, it wasn't fake, like it was real. There was actually peacocks, right? So it was like this metaphor for, especially because it was right after this trial thing had ended, it was like this cycle of what I love. This was like the cycle of my mental health, like this full circle moment of like, oh, you thought you were so crazy and you're not crazy at all, and it was real. So yeah, that was kind of funny, but that was so her, right? Like that was so this, like I feel like that was so the spirit of this person who also, because my mom told me that, she was like, also, did you know that peacocks were actually Christina's favorite animal? I was like, oh, that's so sweet. That's like almost like her giving me that message at that moment as well, that like you're not crazy. And this was about the time that I was starting to write my undergraduate thesis too. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, I just feel like the little like random little moments are just so cute. I just feel like I really do see peacocks when yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna show my little box again. This is like so cute. But yes, I did find this right when I was finishing up that thesis, all like just on my own without school. And yeah, I feel like she also guided me here because, like I said, I got that random urge to write that paper on possession trance disorders, and that turned out to be what I was like, what her big thing as well. And because of that, like I'm here, Now, let's quickly see. It's like 3 in the morning. I just feel really energized. I think I didn't go to sleep till a bit late, but my life is weird. I don't know. That's why I don't feel like I feel like I didn't down myself down this path because my life has been so horribly bizarre and just so strange at every point that I'm just like, yeah, this makes sense somehow that I'm here right now. So I'm just gonna write questions. I think we'll just end the night with me writing questions down, but I feel like Christina's like my spiritual academic advisor. She knows the path to guide me down on my academic life, and she funded my undergraduate, and I feel like in spirit she's like here still with this. Feel sad sometimes. I wish I had known her and we had had a conversation, but I mean, like, not conversation, but a relationship. I feel like maybe she like knew something. I don't know. I feel like she'd want me to know how smart I am. I don't think I would have known how smart I was if I hadn't gone down this path either, because I could never even in a million years would I have thought that I'd be smart enough to do something like this. But it's just that like little spiritual push of like that pressure. I felt such intense pressure this whole way through, and it's just been like this really intense pressure of like this is where you need to go. I've almost eaten this entire carton. Now, let me put this away so I have ice cream tomorrow too. Yeah, what does this look like? Is it like neurons? That's a big question. This is about the 2-year anniversary of me moving to London as well, which is really kind of fun because my life has grown so much in 2 years. I could never have expected. And I always send myself little messages to my past to like give myself hope or something. And actually yesterday I ended up going and like doing a little shopping trip and stuff for myself and just got myself presents because I wanted to celebrate that I was been here 2 years. And I was just remembering getting here and feeling like, oh my God, I don't have money. I don't have anything. I don't have like anything at all. Like I was so stressed out. My first job here was as like a street fundraiser and stuff. And now I'm here and I'm like partway through a master's degree. I have my own house. It is pretty essential in essence my own house. I like am, and then I have my cat here. I was stressed when I got there because I was like, how am I gonna get my cat here? And just nothing was set up and stuff. And I was so nervous about my research assistant position. Like, am I gonna be good enough at that? I was fine. And yeah, just little stuff like that I was like, am I gonna be good at psychology? Because I hadn't even done anything psychology yet. That was my first psychology, like anything, essentially, because I didn't get my undergrad in it. I was like, oh, am I gonna do good? All this stuff. And it's like, oh, you did fine, you're here, you have this project, your cat's here, like everything's good, and don't stress. I'm gonna search. I kind of forgot that I can just search like the neuroscience of because that's what I finally found that memory binding stuff. I just searched neuroscience of memory binding, which is kind of silly, but I can't search the neuroscience of the amygdala. That's not really that much to do. I don't know. Neuroscience of amygdala tagging. I don't know. These are looking really promising, actually. That's really what we're missing here. I'm gonna write this at the bottom. Specifics of memory binding, we need amygdala tagging. How does that work? I have some like free flowing kind of connections that need to be made that are just sort of brewing about the pattern separation stuff, but I don't know if they're even necessary. We'll see. I'm kind of just riding the wave of this project. I feel like this project is just doing itself, and I'm just letting it letting it be done. Like, okay. This is what's kind of annoying, or like what is happening is that this memory tagging stuff has to do with really random and precise chemicals. And I don't know, that's probably got to be something really precise. So I have a lot of like meta dreams. I don't know how to put it, but like my dreams in my dreams. Like the other day, I had a bad dream, but then I woke up in the dream and realized that that was just a bad dream and that doesn't really happen. Like that didn't happen. That was just a dream, but I was still in a dream. I have a lot of those kind of weird things. You know what's funny though? When I was younger, like I said, I in another video, I really liked, I got really creeped out, but I liked being scared. I used to wish, this was when I was in like middle school. I used to wish that I had nightmares so that I could watch horror movies in my sleep, sort of. Like I just wanted the spice and I wanted something interesting. But it didn't happen. Like I'd be kind of annoyed, like why don't I have more nightmares so that I can have like a horror movie in my sleep? I don't know what was going on with me in middle school. I don't know what's happening there. There's something missing here that is like kind of random. I just need to know basically if this is my big question. When something is being is binding, is one piece strong, like is one cortex stronger? And that's why, like, is that why the memories get bound differently? That's probably in my notes somewhere, but I don't understand that. I already read this, and it's probably definitely in this if I read it closely. I'm going to order Uber Eats. I feel bad because I've been eating out a lot recently, and I usually really like to cook at home. Like, I even took like a cooking class one time and stuff, and I used to invest a lot of my time into cooking myself good meals, but I've just been really tired working on this and kind of lazy. And also in my old flat, I was right next to this really good 24-hour grocery store that had like super stock with produce and stuff. And here, the stuff around me is just like local Sainsbury's, which is just, they have like bagged veggies and stuff, like really basic fruits and veggies and things. So I feel like I just haven't had as much variety. So I've been putting on some I've been putting on some project weight, which I'm not mad about. It's okay. It's not a bad thing as a girl, but I just haven't really been like investing that time into my personal life. But I've been seeing this in also it's not good for your money, but I've been seeing it as an investment because I feel like this is a good money maker is advancing my research career. So I'm gonna order Uber Eats again, unfortunately. I didn't notice the project weight that much until I tried to get into my jeans the other day, and I guess they were already kind of tight, but they really were not. I was like, ugh. And then somebody yesterday told me that I had gained weight, but in a good way. They said it was not a bad thing. They said it was a good thing. I was like, okay. But yeah, I just feel like I haven't really been like I haven't been as active and stuff. Like I've really been indoors a lot because I also work from home, so I'm just inside all day. So I don't know. Again, this is like the most important thing in my life, so I've just been like, I don't care. House is messy, I don't care. Eating out, I don't care. Gaining weight, I don't care. Just get the project done and then you can worry about that after. I ordered some pho. We're drinking this random prebiotic soda. It's not that sweet. It just tastes like soda water with some flavoring. But once I have more money, I really want to get one of those soda machines. I like eating healthy and stuff at home a lot. I really like making my own things. I used to make like my own walnut milk and stuff even, but I just don't have the time or the energy. Today I actually went to church for the first time in a while, and I did pray for a very long time, and I felt much better after. And I asked for support to just get me to the end of this project. I'm like, any spirit, anything, because this my conversation last night was on the back of my mind. I'm like, please support me and get me to the end of this because it's been stressful and I'm really tired and just feeling a bit trapped and ready to get my life back. But I'm just gonna put on some Bad Bunny probably, and then I'm gonna read. And I'm kind of in the mood for a Christmas movie too, so let's see if that happens. So actually, what we're gonna do instead is learn some more information. I haven't been enjoying using ChatGPT right now just because I get a little annoyed when it gives me information and it's probably accurate in
it's it's fine, but it's just that it's kind of out of context, or it's sometimes hard to find a paper right away about what I'm looking for. I'm not putting anything in that I haven't read in a paper. I just use this to get like an overview because again, I haven't been like a program for this. So I don't have the bachelor's degree or anything to actually have like that base of knowledge. So it's like my learning. Um, while this is really, really slow, basically I was also it's interesting how much I've been kind of reflecting about AI as this project has gone along. And again, I actually was kind of an AI hater, and I'm not really like super for like the whole everything is AI thing. I don't really like people using AI unnecessarily or for things that don't really serve much purpose or that can be done yourself. I even was thinking today how there's a lot of people who basically make their use ChatGPT to like write out like I don't know, like make a vision board for me or something. But I was like, it's so much more fun to do that yourself. And the reason that that actually works better is because it forces you to think critically about what you're putting in and have a sort of intuition about how you're going to move forward and actually use that brain like problem solving skill or that creativity to envision your future life rather than having a computer do it for you. And it can be useful, but it's just little things like that that I don't think that we should always use it for everything. But obviously it is a useful tool for things like research or etc. I think that you'll get further and you'll get closer to the things that you visualize if you actually encourage yourself to build that problem solving and like creativity muscle rather than like that's part of the game. So that's what I feel about that sometimes. But basically, um, people there's other areas that we could be using AI that we're not. I'm gonna link below. Actually, you can see it in the description. Well, actually, maybe I'll show it to you guys like here. Let me send my question. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT this and like this question, but I'm honestly not gonna bet too much on the answer because again, it usually doesn't give me a full scope, but it'll hopefully help me a little bit envision what needs to be done and then I can guide myself better. I'm gonna show you guys. Did Donald Trump give Bill Clinton sloppy? Okay, anyways, I watch political videos, but I don't know what I don't know where that one's coming from, but you know what? Okay. Okay, this we're gonna watch it together.
I was born with a thin layer of autism and a thick layer of dyslexia, which means I need a little bit of help reading people and a lot of help reading words. So explain to me, if you have issues with reading words, this is the app you get.
When I was a kid, I was so argumentative. Adults would tell me I should be a lawyer when I grew up.
Do you hear how human that voice sounds? It's like Barack Obama is in the room with us right now. But if you have issues with saying words, this is the app you get.
Sounds. This is how my voice sounds. Can you understand what I say when I talk? Do I sound like a robot or a person?
Because in 2025, we can deepfake celebrities in 4K, and somehow AAC developers are acting like voice tech peaked in 1995. Meanwhile, non-speaking autistic people get the tech equivalent of 2 tin cans and a string. And if you're sitting there thinking, why does that matter? We learn to speak by hearing language.
When these words
don't sound like these words, we're creating an unnecessary technological barrier to communication. AAC developers have the power to make this change, and it's been time for an update.
I just wanted to show that. I thought it was pretty interesting that, AI is not evil. Granted, it uses a lot of power, uses a lot of water and things like that. But AI before this whole ChatGPT explosion, people were already using AI in, for example, computational models have existed for like quite a while. People are already starting to use AI in the medical field. So AI is not evil and it's a really good and useful tool for a lot of different kind of issues, right? The thing is that I feel like people are really well, I guess we could use AI more in spaces that actually matter. So for example, in that situation, I was like, that's so true. Why has nobody done that for like, I was watching in a video the other day, I was watching The Theory of Everything. And in The Theory of Everything, Stephen Hawking has it was actually showing how powerful it was in the movie for him to get one of those computer automated sort of speaking voices because you can see in the movie how it really brought him back to life because he was really struggling to speak and then he lost his voice completely. And I thought that was so that's so true that people, it's probably such another barrier for people with disabilities that people with disabilities are often so dehumanized already because of their condition, and to have a robot voice speak for you already, I feel like it dehumanizes you further, where you have so much more you could have so much more potential to be sort of to engage with the world and communicate and connect if you could have something that actually sounds like a human being. And that would be such a cool use of AI. I've seen people make AI translator apps, like you can translate things in real time. And yeah, it's interesting. Nobody has really made that for people with these sort of speaking difficulties. I'm gonna show another video just while we're here. I always end up talking about one random topic, so this is at least. I was watching this video the other day about people with learning disabilities. I'm gonna show you a little bit of it, and I'm gonna link this in the bio, in my bio. I mean, not my bio, my description as well.
The doctor told my sister that she should contemplate letting me go because of my quality of life. I felt like I was not a person but a thing.
How does it make you feel that that's the law?
It makes me feel that I'm better off dead.
What is life really like for people with a learning disability in Britain today?
How is that young lady being included? How are you being included? How are you being included, George?
Over the last 12 months, ITV News has exposed the neglect and abuse of people with learning disabilities in private care homes and across the National Health Service. But it goes further than that.
My deepest...
This is a great video all the way through, but I really wanted to show this video of this young woman who is speaking with this actual computerized voice.
To tell us what life is really like in Britain today and how the government can improve their lives.
My name is Rayma Begum and I live in London.
Can you describe to us what it's like when you go in hospital and how you're treated by medical staff?
At times it can get pretty draining, as you are constantly asking to be respected and involved in the decisions regarding your care. One time a doctor was speaking to my sister and I was awake. He told her that she should contemplate letting me go because of my quality of life. This was so upsetting to hear because I was right there. He didn't respect me enough to speak to me or involve me, felt like I was not a person but a thing.
What the young lady has shared with us today.
So yeah, I'm gonna link this below as well. It was an amazing video, and it actually, it's good to be always confronting our own underlying stigmas and things and ableism and etc. And it was really eye-opening to watch this video, and it really had me thinking about how we often, I don't know, I guess sometimes we don't see people with these types of disabilities as being capable enough to live full lives or to really understand what they need or to really understand how to live good lives. And that's just not true. And it also comes down to that trouble with communication issues as well. And it's funny because I watched this video like 2-3 days or so after watching that Stephen Hawking, like the Theory of Everything movie. And obviously the Stephen Hawking, he was already, first of all, he was born able-bodied, and then he developed a disability. But you see how difficult it is for him in the movie, because if you didn't know he was Stephen Hawking, you'd probably give him the same type of treatment as this young lady, when in reality Stephen Hawking was incredibly brilliant, and he had so much to say, and he had this really massive and huge career and everything. But yeah, I was just thinking about that and how frustrating it must be to feel like people can't really comprehend. Even I was thinking of this, a lot of people, when they're speaking in a second language, it's really hard to translate just how intelligent they are. Where if you were to speak to them in their primary language, you would see that they're very intelligent, very funny, all these things, but sometimes people just can't translate that as well into their second language, So there's that barrier that people, for example, oh, you have an accent or you don't speak English as well, so you must be less intelligent. But my mom always said, if you know how to speak a second language, that already puts you intelligence-wise ahead of majority of the population in a lot of places. So that's not the truth at all, that people who have accents or whatever are less intelligent. And it really had me sitting with that, with these sorts of for example, this young lady here who obviously is, I mean, she's explaining herself extremely eloquently. It's just that she has to use this computerized voice. And I'm sure it would really support people a lot to have an AI voice that sounds more human and sounds more like them, more like a young person or whatever. And that would probably be very empowering. And I thought that was such a good short. The one I showed earlier from, I think her name is Kaylin, who was on Love on the Spectrum, and she's a big autism advocate. And yeah, AI is not evil. We can use AI for really good things. AI has been a great tool for me in this project, and it's helped give me a voice for an experience that I couldn't translate to people in a different way because the science was just kind of whack. And I was like, I don't know how to do this type of science yet, but I know this science is necessary. So ChatGPT gave me a bit of that voice, and I think that it would give other people a voice to have that kind of AI tool, and that's an amazing use of resources for people. But some of the other AI that we're wasting our gallons and gallons of water on, it's like, okay, maybe that's not a little, maybe it's a little bit less necessary than something like this. But okay, okay, I don't want this to be too like intense, but I want this to be useful. This is again, it's like I'm constantly outside of my comfort zone with this project, and then I kind of elevate into the next layer, and then I'm really deeply out of my comfort zone again. So it's really been exhausting. But this is what it's saying I could do. Object cells and feature vectors. If I had the money, I'd definitely invest in something like that. One day I'll be rich, I'll invest in it. If anybody ever does it, they want to do that for people with disabilities, I would invest in it one day. I think people just see people with disabilities as not really a big, like a useful enough market, or something. Like not even a market, but yeah, kind of. Or they're just sort of off to the side. They're not really as much of the mainstream. Like that's like almost like a separate population that isn't part of the main population. So it's not really worth the money or worth the time to make things for people with disabilities. But I mean, anyone can become disabled at any time. I mean, that's scary to say, but it's just the facts. Like that's true. Anybody can become disabled at any time, and once you develop that disability, you want that tool for yourself as well. And it's useful to have that for people for all kinds of different disabilities that you can develop over the course of your life. You could get in a car accident today, you could become disabled. Honestly, that's the truth. Even developing PTSD, I mean, it's been such a massive challenge, and then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, there's so many issues here. There's so many difficulties. There's so many gaps that I never would have been aware of as a bit more able-bodied. Okay, this is really this is so complex. My God, it's just like a lot to do. Let me understand this better, hopefully. What is a spatial input vector? This is probably best suited for like a supervisor. It's just that I've weirdly just been going along and just okay answering my own questions, but yeah. Oh my God, this is like a lot. This is a lot. I don't understand. We're gonna come back to this. It's probably a great idea, whatever it is, but I'm gonna come back to it because I don't have the brain. I'm like my brain is actually really fried, and it's like it's more fried every single week, and yet every single week I have to do more stuff. Like it's so fried. Maybe I'll feel better after I eat pho. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go back to reading papers now, but that was like one of my big questions. Okay, playing my time at Potion was very necessary. I was very relaxed for the first time in like forever. Very depleted right now, but also would like to get this done. The nice thing is if this is done pretty well by the time I go to my advisor, they can just advise me on little things maybe, and then I can go ahead and jump straight into paying somebody to actually make the computational model for me, which would be very, very nice. That's what I'm assuming I'm going to do because I don't know how to do that part. Playing my time at Portia. Okay, so one of my big things that I want, this is like my number one thing that I want. I this is so silly. I want to go to a Universal Studios in Florida so bad. The one in Orlando. That's been my thing. That's been like my my happy place, actually. As I've gone through this, I've been like, once this is done, it won't be immediately, but I will go to Universal Studios. I really, really, really want to go to Universal Studios so bad. I went when I was a kid, and yeah, I just haven't gone back since then because that's like a really big trip. But I don't know, somehow, some way, maybe this will lead to my first real research job, and then I will have money to go to Universal Studios. I just really want to go there for some reason. And I was playing my time at Porsche, and it was reminding me of Universal Studios, like the music and everything. I don't know, something about it, like walking around. It's a really, really fun game. I actually just started playing it, and I'm just getting the hang of it, but it's kind of like if you mix Animal Crossing with like Minecraft, essentially. And it's just a really cute game, and you can just zone out and play it, and it's nice. But yes. But it was kind of reminding me of it because of the music, and then like the little, you know how amusement parks kind of have that artificial city feel where they make it look like it's a real place, but you know that it's all manufactured. It was kind of feeling like that, so it was just like reminding me how bad I want to go to Universal Studios for some reason. But okay, we're gonna watch this. I mean, read this. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to read more. So the activation of the amygdala triggers neuromodulatory systems, which was what I'm already doing. So the amygdala getting tagged basically would make ACH is one of many different neuromodulators, but that's what I'm studying. So something like ACH go up, which in turn reduces the threshold for the activation of the synaptic tag. So basically, things don't have to. I think it's going to be like things don't have to be even be as a. It's more likely to get coded, which facilitates the transformation of early into late phase memory. I don't know what that means yet. We're going to read into it. Okay, so all the binding happens in the hippocampus. Let's write that down. So this is gonna should be like a subunit of the hippocampus here. Or actually, wait. I'm gonna make this section just information going. This is okay, this is all these rules. I wish I had made this in what's it called, Notion, so I could hide, like close them out. It's not too late to do that, but it's already all here. So, but it's kind of distracting. Like this whole thing is really distracting. So I think all this information is getting, let's double check that. All of this is going into the, I wish this was easier to navigate so bad. We can make sections. Wait, let's make this all into, let's make headers. So we're gonna make, what's it called? Oh yeah, a heading. It's gonna be, I just want a vacation so bad. I don't want to go to class tomorrow. I don't want to go to work. I'm like just dead exhausted. So this was so exhausting for me, actually. That's why I've been trying to figure out like what's gonna happen for me this coming year. So I'm gonna finish my master's. I just don't have it in me to apply for a PhD program. I don't but I need to figure out because I need to stay here. So either I have to get a student visa or I can just pay for a graduate visa, which is a bit pricey. I have to make sure I have a job, but I've been like, I don't have it in me to do a PhD program right now. It's in the works, it's in the future, but I'm like, after all this, like, I'm dead exhausted. Unless it just plans out like that, but I'm just so tired. And like to come up with a whole nother proposal or something immediately is just like, no. And then also, what do I do? Do I do psychology? Do I do what I really want to do is neuroscience? But I don't know, like, what is the likelihood? Because it's so funny in the UK, it's really not, it's like you have to have such a straightforward path, I feel, compared to the US. In the US, as long as you can sort of convince people either through just writing a really like personable sort of proposal of some kind or whatever, like you can kind of get into other types of programs and you can jump into other kinds of fields much easier. But I feel like in the UK, it's really not like that. Like you kind of have to, I feel like it's more like you really do have to have like a degree and stuff. So it's been kind of annoying because I really want to go, like the whole thing is I want to do neuroscience, but it's been kind of a roundabout way, like kind of just all over the place because now I had comparative literature and societies degree. Now I'm going into like I'm in psychology, so it's like okay, I'm gonna have a conversion degree, but that's not enough to get me into a neuroscience program. And I just don't want to do, I actually want to keep studying psychology for sure because I have a therapy type I want to design. Um, I don't know why I keep choosing these insane projects to do, but I just have so much inspiration from all my experience of mental health. I have so much inspiration from that. So I have like ideas and stuff, but I also really, really love neuroscience and I want to just keep doing that. So I've been kind of confused, but I want to see if I can just get a good research position, paid research position, not unpaid, a good paid research position, and I'll get a graduate visa and get experience in neuroscience. Again, I don't know how much experience translates that well here because I had 2 years of research assistant experience as a psychology, whatever, but that didn't translate into really jumping into a master's degree program. Really, that wasn't. I'm happy I have mine because it's good. Apparently, you need the type of degree I have here. Like, you need to get that. If you didn't get your bachelor's in psychology, you need to get a conversion degree to do clinical psychology, which isn't even what I want to do at all. But I'm glad I have that option now. But it's just funny how in the UK it's really more straightforward. Like you can't do the jumping kind of situation. So again, I don't know how much me getting a degree, maybe it just depends on finding someone who's willing to let me do a PhD program of some kind, but I don't feel experienced enough to do a PhD in neuroscience. So yeah, it's just been kind of random. Like I don't know. I'm kind of at a weird gap where it's like I learned a lot and I have good skills that translated into a project, but I don't have like the actual tangible background where there's so much that I really feel like I glazed over. There's so much more that I could learn or that I'm not really like, I need to really get more of the basics in on a lot of different things, I would say. But this was just something that I had from my own lived experience that translated into this project. So, oh my gosh, every paper is coming up. Okay, no more papers. Okay. Okay, so it enhances the ability of the amygdala to modulate emotionally dependent information into enhanced memories as a function of their emotional significance by strengthening neuroplasticity in other brain regions. That's what is happening. Let's see if that's in the hippocampus. It is suggested that the amygdala, activated by an emotionally charged event, signals to other brain structures that an emotional experience has occurred that is worth storing. This leads to the reinforcement of consolidation of that event. The amygdala marks an emotionally charged experience as important. Emotionally charged experience as important by strengthening of synapses located on neurons that have just been activated in other brain Okay, this is a bit convoluted. Wait, it's not, but I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around it. The amygdala marks an emotionally charged experience as important by strengthening of synapses located on neurons that have just this is okay, this is really good. This is really good information. Let's copy paste this. I think this is related to the memory binding. Okay, guys, I think we're starting to get to the end of this project finally. It's really starting to come together now. I want to put both of my last names on my experiment as like because I want the Rasha to be there. Am I allowed? If it's like a poem or something, you can do just whatever name you want, but I don't know if I'm allowed to put my name that's not my legal name. Wait, should we ask that? Because I really want the Rasha to go there. It's like kind of important to me. I was just thinking that because the researcher that made this had a hyphenated name, so I was like, oh, I've meant to hyphenate my name so many times. I just never did it because I was like, now I have to redo all my documents. Okay, we're gonna hyphenate it because or we're just both names will be there. Both names will be there. Something like this. It just has to be there because my grandpa played such a big part in this. In spirit. Okay, anyways, back to reading. I used to not like my name because I thought it was so random sounding because I have a very Brazilian first name and a very, very British American last name. And I was like, my name does not make sense at all. Raquel Turner. I just thought it sounded weird. But when I have my full name, I like it. Raquel Rasha Turner. It makes it make more sense. I think what this is going to be titled at the end is something really just like, it's probably just going to be something like, let's go to my final draft. Because this is all just basically a computational model of trauma. I mean, I'm not going to do those exact words, but something like this. This is not accurate. This is just in the works. Something like this. This is very wordy and not accurate, but it's gonna include these elements. Something like computational model of acetylcholine arousal dynamics and memory binding and replay in acute stress. Something like that. That is very much a work in progress. On top of this being like really just really hard. I mean, like a lot to process in terms of the project and the content of the project itself. It's been a lot to process personally and emotionally as well. Um, like it's just kind of hard to wrap my head around the fact that I did this, that I'm here, that this is actually working, and that I'm gonna finish it. Like there's just not a way for me to not finish this, and that's gonna really change my life, and it's really changed my sense of self, like what I'm capable of and stuff, and it's been a very life-changing year for me, actually. Like just all of 2024, this was really, really a big year for me. I really covered a lot of ground this year by a lot. Like I started this year in January, I was not doing this project. I was worried if I was gonna make enough money because my nanny job was kind of back and forth. I didn't even have like I only had that. I was still working at this hostel like part-time as well, and I don't know, I had like a really tiny room. I just feel like I covered a lot of ground this year and it's been kind of a lot to wrap my head around. Like just I learned so much this year. I had to learn all of this and literally the last 8 months as well has been really intense. And also just the idea that I am capable of this at all is I'm genuinely like it's been really big for me to wrap my head around and be like, what does this mean for me? How is this going to affect my life and impact my life? And it's going to be good for me, like really good for me, but I'm also exhausted as well. And I also wanted to find this because I had such a hard time validating myself through because of my recovered memories and stuff. And now I can look at my experience and be like, oh, there's a reason for that. And this is why, and that's also a really really massive shift for me. And I don't even feel like I've had time to unpack it all because I'm just rushing from thing to thing, so it's been kind of just heavy, and that's why I've been depleted because it's like on top of all the processing for just this project, it's also been personally really really a lot as well, and I haven't really had time to sit with it that much, and I just want to keep taking off class, no school, no anything, just sitting around, but I can't do that. So okay, this chemical tag thing is really, really scientific. Not scientific, like chemical, really, really chemical in a way that a lot of the other stuff that I've been learning isn't. Like it's really like I don't know, it's got all these chemicals to it. So I'm still trying to understand how that will translate. I don't know, maybe there's a computational model of this, maybe. After this, I'm gonna be done for the day because or for this video and for the day because I'm getting just tired, I think. But this is actually I every day it's like the shifts seem small, but they're really actually very big shifts in the way that my project is operating. So even when I only do two or three things, it's like the last things left are just really, really important things. So yeah, that's why I don't feel like I cover as much ground in my stuff, but it feels like big still. This is what I really wish that I had like a model of. I might wait to find this. Oh wait, this looks like in my no, this isn't a model, a computational model. This is a really hard thing, but we're gonna just that's not gonna be what we're gonna not worry about that for today as well because I'm really tired. But you see, it's a lot of random chemicals, but it's gonna be probably something like this. An exposure to stress, respond to suppressed LTP. I just want to go to Universal Studios, no lie. I want to go so bad. I don't know why. It's been on my mind for months, like months and months, like probably like the last 6 months. I think about it so much, and I just want to go to freaking Universal Studios. I'm gonna wait. We're gonna end this by having an inspirational Universal Studios like Pinterest board like scroll. It's been like my hyperfixation. I have like a few hyperfixations of things that I want to do when this project is done. I want to go to Universal Studios really bad. I want to go mountain biking so bad. That's been like all year I've been thinking that. Like I really want to go mountain biking. And I really want to go to Switzerland. Those are like my three things. I think I have more, but I'm forgetting them off the top of my head. But they come into my mind all the time. Like, I really want to do those things. Okay, look, priming the amygdala could modulate synaptic plasticity in the hippocampus. I guess is what's going to happen. This priming effect was dependent on this transmitter system. Okay, we're going to copy paste this into my paper, and then we're going to spend some time looking at random Universal Studios videos. Literally, it's so annoying. I am always looking at the freaking pictures of Universal Studios because I'm like, I will go. I will go so much, like so bad. I will go soon. I don't know. I'm sorry. My brain is not working anymore. I can't form sentences anymore. Okay, let's actually copy paste this all into ChatGPT to ask it to break it down for me and explain it for me, please. Oh, no, my God, submit this. No, explain this, not submit this. No, 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 no. Can you explain this for me? See, I want chocolate again. Oh my gosh, my stress eating, I literally eat so much sugar. It's so bad. Brownies and ice cream and everything. Constantly crave chocolate. What this passage is saying. Okay, cool. The amygdala is strongly connected to systems that release neuromodulators. So what the amygdala does, it activates neuromodulatory system, which then spreads signals to the hippocampus. These neuromodulators tell the hippocampus which memories matter. So triggers these neuromodulators. These chemicals reach the hippocampus and they tell them, pay attention, this event is important. So arousal. Neuromodulators lower the threshold needed for long-lasting plasticity. So to create a long-term memory, neurons need protein synthesis and the creation of a synaptic tag. Neuromodulators released because of the amygdala activation make it easier to trigger this, easier to do this, more likely to do this, and etc. So let me just ask if I assume that because I'm already doing one of this one, if it's going up, I assume that that's also getting impacted. So that'll probably be how this works if I can just figure out how to include all of that. There's other things to think about here with my project because there's going to be like a high stress situation going on, but no, this is actually working. No, this is actually perfect. This is actually perfect, actually. Okay, I'm going to look into that more tomorrow when I have brain power again. But that's actually perfect, and that actually explained the tagging to me well and explained how this is going to work. So that's good. Let me put a little tag here. Oh my God, I don't want to go to class. Literally going to class tomorrow is the last thing I want to do. I have to wake up so early to go to class too, and I'm so tired that I go to sleep. I just want to sleep till 10, 11. Like, I want to sleep so late because I'm just exhausted, and I'm like, no. Class again. And then I have to face my statistics class, which is the bane of my existence this year because my laptop is messed up. Every time I go in, I feel guilty because I haven't done like what I need to do. So, but my project is popping off though. My project is doing good. So at least on this one thing, we're not doing that bad. This is now 8 pages long. I was actually thinking I looked to see how many videos I have for my project so far, and I have like 70 something, which is insane. Cause like I didn't even realize I had that much. Each of those videos is like an hour or two long. Those are usually condensed down from like 4 hours of work. That means that I've put over like I'm sorry, mental math is not my strong suit. Let's say I have 70 videos right now, and each of those is like 4 hours of work. That's already 280. That's not including, I did a lot of work on the side in the beginning of my project because I was doing a lot of reading. So I've probably put upwards of like, I don't know, maybe like 300, like 350, almost something like that, like 300 something hours into this project, maybe more. Also, I cut out a lot of videos where I was like, there was one day that I worked 7 hours and I was just struggling back and forth with ChatGPT. I worked like 7 hours on it. So I've definitely put at least like through like 375 hours into this so far, and it's not even done. That's the most work I've ever done on anything. Like, that's insane. This was so good though. I really did enjoy this whole thing. My Universal Studios board. This is so silly, but I want to go so freaking bad. It's insane. I love roller coasters actually. The first time I went to Universal Studios, I was like, I don't know, 10 or 11 probably. We have a really cute picture of my sister and I drinking butterbeer, and we have like these little butterbeer mustaches. I rode, oh my gosh, there's like one that's like Rip Rocket or something. It's super duper tall, and it has you playing music on the roller coaster. And I, oh my gosh, this is like, remember I said I get so creeped out, but I also love scary things. It's the same for the roller coasters where I love roller coasters, but I'm kind of a wimp sometimes. I'm not too bad, but I was on this roller coaster when I was like 11 and I was so hyped to ride it. But I got on it and I started crying so bad that they literally didn't let the ride start yet. And they made everybody sit there while they talked to me and asked me if I really wanted to do it. And I was like, oh, I do want to do it. They let me go on and it was fun. And then we rode it again. But I was so sad, bro. I mean, not sad. I was like scared. Anyways, I really want to go to Universal Studios again. As an adult would be so much fun. You guys do not understand how badly I need to go. No, no, no. It's gonna happen. I wish I had more pictures, but that's good because it's kind of like saving it as a surprise. When I do go, I'll be shook. I'll be like, this is so fun. Because it's only showing the three parks, but yes, okay. That's it. But now I'm gonna spend the next 30 minutes looking at pictures of Universal Studios probably. Okay, we're done. I'm not getting out of this hoodie because it's gonna take work. I mean this jacket, but I'm tired. I'm tired. It's so close, but I'm so tired. Every little switch of this project has been so draining and just like exhausting and everything. And I'm just done. I'm done with school. I'm done with work. I'm done with everything. I'm just tired, and I don't want to do anything else. But unfortunately, life goes on and life won't wait for me to do this stupid project. So I have to just go to school tomorrow, I guess, and just constantly feel behind on everything and constantly feel like I suck at everything, that I'm not working hard enough, even when I'm quite literally drained out of my mind. So, anyways, okay. Yes, let's see how it goes in my next video. I'm gonna go get chocolate, maybe.